Hello, Wickham Wizards and other Iowa City Community School District students. My name is Mrs. Keitel, and we're going to be doing a fun one-day lesson today here in the art room. This could be one that you do at the sub, or maybe if you like this enough, you might do it with extra time in the future. What we're going to be creating today are some summer-inspired ice cream cones. Let's get started. All right, I'm just gonna kind of gauge my area here that I need to be working at. We never draw on the table, but I just need to see my little marks here. All right. Now, guys and gals, what we're gonna be doing today are making some summer-inspired ice cream cones. Now, these are really great because not only is it a little bit of drawing practice, but we're also going to be using elements of art that we know a lot about. So when we make our summer-inspired ice cream cones, the first thing we want to think about is using pencil only to begin. If you have time to trace with Sharpie, you may totally do that, but always start with pencil first and draw lightly so we can erase anything we don't need. Then, number 2, we're going to take our time. Go slow. Our best drawing comes when we focus and take our time. Number 3, we're going to be including those elements of art that we've been practicing a long time. These will include line, shape, texture, and of course, what would we have with a beautiful drawing if we didn't fill it in with some color? Number 4, be creative. You could make ice cream cones that have pretty plain or simple flavors, but what kind of crazy ice cream cone would we have if it was just vanilla for the whole thing? Number 5, complete your cones by coloring in all the way. Your background might not be colored in all the way, but your ice cream and your cone does. Even try adding some value to these. Remember, values are the lights and darks of our colors. And number 6, super important, have fun. Now, how we're going to do this today is we're going to do this in 4 main steps. The first step is to create the bottom scoop of your ice cream cone. I'm going to show you today how to start from the bottom and the top, but when we make these and do overlapping, I'm going to encourage you to start from the bottom. You're going to create your bottom ice cream scoop with an upside down U shape or a curvy rainbow-like line, and then we'll add a wavy line onto the base, and it kind of curves around and waves to the bottom. Step number 2 is we're going to create our cone and fill it in with some texture. This can be a design or just lines for our texture, but we want to be able to see what it might feel like to hold that ice cream cone. You're going to create the cone with a V coming out of your bottom scoop, and then you can select what kind of texture you want, whether you're just going to be drawing some lines, using different kinds of lines to create a cross-hatching, or even repeating lines to fill that into the bottom. Step number 3, we're going to add as many scoops as we can to fill our paper, add some details, and use that trick we know as overlapping. Another view of our step number 3, an important view that we need here, is to see how we are going to fill up that whole paper. So step 3, don't forget your details and to be creative, but we're also going to have that overlapping. Overlapping happens when you draw a scoop coming out of another scoop. All right? Now on mine, I haven't gotten to my step 4, which is my fabulous coloring yet. But what I have done is included my details of my scoops. I've got a mint chocolate chip, strawberry, bacon swirl, a vanilla and chocolate that I left plain because I would just color them, a gumball scoop, and a cotton candy. That's my fave. I had to get that at the bottom, so I was hoping it'd be the biggest scoop. But what you'll do today, friends, if you're starting from that bottom, is create the very first scoop, the bottom scoop. And you're going to do that by making your upside down U shape and then that wavy line. And it's going to come out from both sides. You could even make like little ears or C shapes and then wave it down. Add that V shape for your cone. also an upside down triangle. And then think about what kind of texture you're going to have. On the first example, we saw it was cross-hatching, but for this one, I'm going to do a zigzag line and repeat it all the way down for my texture. So I can kind of connect it. It's almost like making little diamonds for me. But it's a nice way to repeat lines that we know to create some texture. And you can make any kind of texture you want here at the bottom. Now for the rest of my scoops going up, I'm going to do that overlapping, which means my scoops are coming out of the one on top. Now we don't see the whole wavy line for this. You're just kind of seeing that top where the ice cream scooper would make that little circle. But you might want to experiment and see if you can make a scoop that's off to the side, almost falling off. Maybe you even have 2 overlapping scoops coming out. Maybe when you have 2, that's when you can kind of see that wavy line of 1 connecting down. But we're going to try to fill these pages all the way to the top. All right. Now, if starting from the bottom and going up seems just a little tricky, then what you can do is start at the very tip top with that same exact scoop, and then you will be drawing your ice cream cones coming out of it. Now, the only thing is if you do your lines first, then you're going to have to do a little erasing. So what you'll want to think about is if you start from the top, how you're going to incorporate the very next scoop under it. If we start from the bottom and go up, we kind of set ourselves up to know how the overlapping is going to happen. If you go from the top, you might need to come back in and erase any of those lines that you don't need. Okay? But you can kind of go all the way down, maybe even just draw those U shapes first, and then fill in where your overlapping scoops might be. Whew, this one's like a balancing act over here. Once you get down to the bottom and you want to think about how your cone will be, then give yourself enough space for that. So whether or not you start from the bottom and go up or start from the top and go down, we're going to be creating some awesome summer-inspired cones. Once you're done, think about those funky flavors you might want to add and draw those details in. And of course, last but certainly not least, we're going to want to use some pops of color. Whether you use crayons, colored pencils, or markers today, please make sure you do your best coloring. If you want to add value, you can always do that by pushing down a little harder. Of course, with markers, we don't want to push too hard. But all in all, friends, be creative, don't forget details, and have fun. Now remember to be kind and respectful for our sub today, and I cannot wait to take a peek at these summer-inspired ice cream cones when I get back. Have a great rest of the day.